The power of being seen, how self awareness and community transform lives. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt like you needed to shrink yourself, to fold away the edges of your personality that might be too much, too loud to you? I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing the Most Reverend Dr. Louise Bonaparte, a visionary whose work has transformed countless lives through her profound understanding of authentic leadership and community building. Her insights have illuminated pathways for those who've long navigated spaces where they felt invisible. Dr. Bonaparte isn't just another thought leader with clever phrases and polished presentations. She's a revolutionary force whose wisdom has liberated minds, opened doors, and created spaces where people can finally exhale and be themselves. Her decades of work have touched thousands of lives, particularly among Black professionals who have used her frameworks to navigate hostile environments while maintaining their dignity and authenticity. What struck me most during our conversation was a simple yet revolutionary truth. The journey to genuine fulfillment begins not with external validation, but with knowing yourself deeply. And this isn't the superficial self knowledge that fits neatly on a personality test. This is the kind that requires courage to face your own reflection without flinching. Self awareness, Dr. Bonaparte shared. It's not just a skill, it's your superpower. Think about that for a moment. In a world constantly telling us who to be, how to speak, when to advance, and when to retreat, especially for Black women, knowing who you truly are becomes an act of revolution. But here's what nobody tells you about self awareness: it's uncomfortable, sometimes downright painful. It means acknowledging not just your strengths, but your shadows. It means recognizing patterns that no longer serve you. It means standing in your truth, even when that truth isn't pretty or polished or packaged for public consumption. And yet, this discomfort is precisely where transformation begins. I'm reminded of Letitia Clark, founder of the Pink Parachute Diaries podcast. When I learned about her story during my research for the interview with Dr. Bonaparte, I was struck by her courage. Letitia created this platform after witnessing talented Black women repeatedly handed pink slips while mediocrity elsewhere was rewarded with golden parachutes. The silence around these injustices was deafening. So, what did she do? She built a space where Black women could tell their unfiltered, truths, where vulnerability wasn't policed, where justified emotion wasn't dismissed as anger, where achievements were celebrated alongside honest conversations about adversity. The result? Healing through connection. Listeners reported feeling seen, validated, and perhaps most importantly, no longer alone in their struggles. This is the power of community. Dr. Bonaparte's second key insight: your personal growth is magnified when nurtured in community. When you find spaces that affirm rather than diminish you, transformation accelerates. We see this beautifully illustrated in historically Black colleges and universities. These institutions don't just educate, they cultivate excellence by creating environments where students can bring their whole selves, where cultural understanding isn't an afterthought, but the foundation, where belonging doesn't require assimilation. The outcomes speak volumes: greater confidence in identity driven leadership, higher graduation rates, expanded networks supporting entrepreneurship, and economic ripple effects that uplift entire communities. When you find your people, Dr. Bonaparte emphasized during our conversation, you find your power. But let's be honest, finding these spaces isn't always easy. Sometimes you have to build them yourself. Consider Julie Craig's story, which Dr. Bonaparte referenced as a powerful example of resilience. Despite persistent racial bias blocking her advancement, despite qualifications and performance excellence being overlooked, Julie didn't just accept invisibility as inevitable. She documented her experiences meticulously. She built alliances within her organization and beyond. She connected with mentors committed to change. Her advocacy led not only to policy reforms, but inspired others facing similar barriers to speak up about inequities they endured. She helped launch an employee resource group focused on mentorship and networking specifically designed around culturally relevant needs. This brings us to Dr. Bonaparte's third transformative insight: authenticity fuels lasting impact. Living authentically means embracing both your strengths and vulnerabilities while acting in alignment with your passions. It's about showing up as your full self, not just the parts that make others comfortable. Authenticity, Dr. Bonaparte shared with me, is not self indulgence, it's self liberation that ultimately liberates others. When you live authentically, you create permission for others to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. Your vulnerability becomes an invitation. Your alignment becomes a blueprint. I'm reminded of Maya Angelou's powerful words. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. This is the essence of authentic impact. Not just changing minds, but touching hearts. Not just achieving success, but transforming systems. Not just climbing ladders, but building elevators for those who come after you. But here's the challenge: authenticity requires constant vigilance. It's easy to slip into performing rather than being, to adopt masks that win approval but cost you your soul, to chase definitions of success that look impressive on paper but leave you empty inside. This is why self awareness remains your foundation. It's the compass that keeps you oriented towards your true north when external pressures push you off course. So, how do we cultivate this level of self awareness? How do we find or create communities that nurture our growth? How do we live authentically in spaces that often penalize authenticity? Dr. Bonaparte offered a deceptively simple practice: pause daily, even if just for 5 minutes, to reflect honestly on who you are beneath all titles or expectations. Ask yourself, what truly motivates me? Where do my passions lie? What beliefs or habits are holding me back from living more authentically? Write down your answers, then commit to challenging one limiting belief or seeking feedback from someone who knows you well. This single act can unlock doors not just within yourself, but throughout every space you lead or serve. And when self reflection feels too daunting to practice alone, remember the power of community. Seek spaces where your full humanity is welcomed, where your voice is valued, where your growth is celebrated. Sometimes these spaces already exist, like professional networks specifically created for Black women, mentorship circles, faith communities, or alumni associations from HBCUs. Sometimes you need to create them, starting small with just one or two trusted allies who share your commitment to authentic growth. The beauty of intentional community is that it provides both mirror and window, reflection of who you truly are and vision of who you might become. As Dr. Bonaparte powerfully articulated, in community, your wounds become wisdom, your struggles become strength, your story becomes strategy. This wisdom particularly resonates for Black women navigating professional spaces where the pressure to code switch, to minimize, to accommodate is relentless, where excellence is often met with skepticism rather than celebration, where authenticity can feel like a luxury rather than a right. But here's what Dr. Bonaparte wants you to know: you belong exactly as you are, with all your brilliance, all your questions, and all your dreams intact. Your voice matters. Your perspective matters. Your presence matters. And when you embrace the fullness of who you are, when you cultivate self awareness, find community, and live authentically, you don't just transform your own life, you transform every room you enter, every organization you join, every person you encounter. This is the ripple effect of authentic living. This is the legacy of courageous self knowledge. This is the power of being truly seen. I want to leave you with a challenge, not just a gentle suggestion, but a call to disrupt the status quo of your own life. Stop waiting for permission to be fully yourself. The world doesn't need more people hiding their light. It needs the blinding brilliance of your authentic truth. This week, take one bold step toward greater authenticity. Speak up when silence feels safer. Stand firm when compromise seems easier. Show up fully when shrinking feels more comfortable. Do it knowing that each time you honor your authentic self, you create a crack in the systems designed to keep us all small. Do it understanding that your courage creates pathways for others still finding their voice. Do it believing that the liberation of your authentic self is intimately connected to the liberation of us all. The journey ahead won't be easy. There will be resistance, both external and internal. There will be moments when retreat feels like the only option. There will be voices, perhaps even your own, questioning whether authenticity is worth the cost. In those moments, remember Dr. Bonaparte's wisdom. Remember Letitia Clark's courage. Remember Julie Craig's persistence. Remember that you are part of a lineage of truth tellers whose authenticity has changed the world. You were never meant to shrink. You were born to expand into the fullness of who you are meant to be. And when you do, when you stand unapologetically in your truth, you don't just change your own story, you change the narrative for generations to come. This is your moment. This is your invitation. This is your revolution. Will you accept the challenge?